I'd like to think that we've developed a relationship over the years, me doing the videos, you watching it, because it's more than just about gambling. Of course, I know many of you are here today simply for the free pick, and I'm going to break down the game between Michigan and Florida State in a moment, and I'll tell you who the big featured play is and the big discounted play is in just a moment as well. But listen, I can't just talk about gambling day in, day out, and I like to have fun here more often than not on the video reports because it is entertainment. It's a one-way medium, me talking to you, and I don't want to bore you, but at times I like to be serious as well. And I got to be honest with you, today is 7 years since my father passed away. My dad passed away 7 years ago this morning, and it was a gruesome ending because he had sinus cancer, and it was a long battle. But if I could pass on one word of advice to those of you out there, those of you that are old and young, it is to say what you can when you have an opportunity to do so to your loved ones. And what I mean is this. Since my father knew that it was a terminal illness and the end was coming, and he decided at the end, a couple weeks prior, to finally decide to end the treatment, you know, he was able to say to me and to my sister things that he always wanted to say. Not that he had to say them because obviously we knew, but it afforded him the opportunity to do so. And let's face it, many times, and you've heard the stories and you are aware of situations, when death comes suddenly, there are things that are often left unsaid by both parties. And that's a shame because loved ones are left mourning and left with things that they wish they had an opportunity that they could go back and say one more time. And it's too late. And that's a shame. And in my case, I had already written his eulogy. And there were things that he already knew, but I got to tell him as well. So there were no things left unsaid. Now, in my case, I have a 22-year-old son. He's known for years exactly how I feel. If I drop dead tomorrow or today, there's nothing left unsaid. So if I can give you one word of wisdom, not that I'm this old soothsayer, not that I came down from the mountain carrying tablets and I can impart this wisdom upon you. It's just my own personal bit of advice today, which is more important than anything in gambling that I could ever say. Say the things that maybe that you have been thinking of saying, because like that Garth Brooks song says, if tomorrow never comes, why wait? In case tomorrow never comes, say it today. Do it. Get it over with. Sons and daughters, mothers and fathers. Why wait until that opportunity maybe slips away? Because it doesn't come around again. You only get one chance. You know what I mean? Okay, so we move forward. And we go to who's the big featured play today, and that would obviously be Chris Jordan because he did it yesterday. A guy who has made $1 bettors a little over 62 grand over the past 483 days. Yesterday, the 6th ever triple your wager 3,000 star college basketball release of his career, and he scored with Villanova over West Virginia. You got it as the half price play of the day. It was even stronger than the double your wager winner on Loyola of Chicago over Nevada on Thursday night. Well, today he's doing it once more. The 7th ever triple your wager game of his career. And it is on the Loyola of Chicago game against Kansas State. He is 30, 13, and 1 with triple your wager 3,000 star releases in all sports in his 35-year handicapping career, including 5-1. That's it. He's only had 6 of them in 35 years in college basketball. 5-1 after cashing in last night with Villanova. Lifetime with these plays. Just as strong as the 3,000 star triple your wager winner on Gonzaga. North Carolina over Gonzaga in last year's Final Four title game. Just as strong as Central Florida outright over Auburn on New Year's Day in college football. You get it as the half price play of the day again today by using coupon code HALF, and that is by far the big featured play on today's card. Now, let's talk about this late game between Michigan and Florida State. Listen, how can you not be impressed with Michigan? John Beilein is a guy who always, to me, seemingly has his team ready to go when the stage is the biggest. He showed you again in the Big Ten Championship, 4 games in 4 days, no problem. Wolverines got the job done. This is a team that has won 12 straight games going into today's game. This is a team that took on a Texas A&M team that probably has 2 first-round draft picks in their big guys, and Tyler Davis and Robert Williams, and the Wolverines were not intimidated. They don't necessarily have the size to match up. So when people are talking about Florida State has the big size, has the length, big deal. You think the Wolverines are going to be intimidated? I don't think so. And Florida State may have the size, but they do not get the bulk of their scoring from their big men like Texas A&M did, or does. And Florida State relies on its guards to power its offense. Well, you've got a Michigan team that has some lockdown defenders in its backcourt. You have a Michigan State team, or excuse me, a Michigan team, excuse me if I said Michigan State earlier. You have a Michigan team that led the Big Ten in defense this year, and that's an anomaly because the Wolverines aren't primarily known as a defensive team over previous seasons, but they were this year, giving up about 62.5 points a game. And they're one of the top 20 team defensively in the nation as well. And this is a Michigan team that came out and just blitzed the hell out of Texas A&M offensively in that game a couple of nights ago. 52 points in the first half, 10 three-pointers in the first half of that game. So I look at what happened with Florida State the other night. And listen, I had Gonzaga the other night against Florida State. If I had known one of Gonzaga's top players, Tilly, was going to miss that game, a guy who was unconscious for the Zags in the West Coast Conference tournament when he averaged almost 25 points a game, when he hit one three-pointer after another and shot almost 85% from the field in that tournament. If I knew he was going to miss the game with a hip injury, would I have gone with Gonzaga? No. Would it have made a difference in that game? Zags probably still would have lost because Florida State that night was just playing great. And Florida State took care of business against Xavier as well. But I still am not impressed with the Seminoles. This is a team that was sub 500 down the stretch in the regular season. I think Michigan right now is playing some of the best ball, along with Villanova, in the tournament, along with, well, I got to tell you, I know Loyola of Chicago is playing some great ball, but if I had to say Loyola of Chicago is playing on the level of Villanova and Michigan, I would be lying to you. So I just like Michigan, and I'm willing to lay the 4.5 points with the Wolverines in this spot. So Michigan is going to be your complimentary play. That'll do it. I wish you well. Talk to you again tomorrow when we do this again.